I've got a new toy in the mail and I'm gonna open it up and set up the palette. It's going to be my new minimalist, well, maybe 15 colors is not really minimalist, but it's going to be my go-to for in my bag, because it's small, it's handy, and I'm gonna show you what color I'm gonna put in. And it's also time to update on my palette anyway, so here goes. Okay, so here's the palette. It has a few magnet built into the sides, and also you can clamp it with the clamp. It's quite nifty. The magnet's not very strong. I think it's just a guide so that it aligns the palette. I'll put a link in the description below. I'm sorry, it's only for people who live in Singapore because I bought it through Shopee. And I'm not affiliated or anything. There's no, I don't get anything for this. I'm sure you can do a search for this palette using Google. If you can take a photograph of it and then you can search it, you might be able to find it in where you live. I've done some previous videos on the palette, color palette that I've done. I'll put a link up here. Most of my colors are Daniel Smith colors. You can see that they are mostly Daniel Smith, except for one Winston Newton, that's New Gamboge. Let me just go through the colors that I've selected for my 15 pants palette. Well, if you look at the color view, you will get yellow, orange, red, green, blue, and purple. So I have 2 colors of each, except for purple, where I have substituted one of the purple for neutral tint, which is essentially gray, very dark gray. And that's because I don't really need 2 purples. You can always mix purple, which is my preference anyway. And then the 3 opaques, they will be Naples Yellow and 2 cats, Cadmium Yellow and Cadmium Orange. Those 3 colors are opaque, and you will see that I will put them on the side so that I isolate my opaques. So in other words, I have 3 opaques. Naples Yellow is sort of closer to opaque, but a little bit more transparent than cadmium. The Daniel Smith has, they have substituted the toxic cadmium years ago, so they are hues. In other words, they are substituted colors. So I put in 2 yellows, that's lemon yellow and New Gamboge. And then my reds, they are essentially Quinacridone Rose and permanent Alizarin Crimson. I really think beginners should start with transparent watercolor, and they are always better to paint with because they don't muddy your palette so much. Opaque muddy them, and it's harder to use because opaques are ghastly if it's overly done. You do want to keep to transparent color as much as possible. I will put a list of the names of the colors in the description below if you're interested, all 15 colors. And they are mostly, they are all transparent except for the last 3, which are opaque. Well, Cobalt is slightly, if you use it with a lot of pigment, it's a little bit more, how should I say, it's a little bit more opaque, but it's still more on the transparent side if you water it down. So my orange are dirty orange. They are essentially Quinacridone Gold and Quinacridone Burnt Orange, and beautiful colors as well. I love to use it to mix with blues, giving me a very nice neutral sort of tint, neutral gray if you like. The reds, they are Quinacridone Rose. I have only a little bit left in this one, and permanent Alizarin Crimson. And they are lovely colors. I really love them. I use them for years, and of course I have other reds like Operas. Opera is a Holbein's color, and I've used it for years as well, but it's off my palette because it's slightly less light fast than I like. And my 2 go-to blues would be Cobalt Blue as well as French Ultramarine. Those 2 blues has been my go-to for years. If I want a third blue, it will be cerulean blue. If I want something more funky, I'll get the Cobalt Teal, which is sort of the teal color, which I really love as well. But for 2, it's just those 2. The next one would be the green. Green gold is my light green. Oh, something's wrong with this. There's a new tube, and let's just. Oh no! Well, I kind of squeezed it all over the place. All right, now I'm gonna either waste the paint or let's get some of this back into the tube. It's not possible. The tube's destroyed anyway. Anyway, I have an idea. Let's see. Maybe you can learn something from me with accidents like this. I'm not going to waste the paint. I'm just going to put some into the palette. And for the rest that's already being squeezed out onto the table, I have a, just the idea to save them. Now, obviously, I've had many such episodes. I've had much practice, and I have my emergency kit, and this is my spare kit with lots of half pans. I bought them for just in case for something like this, and I'm gonna scoop them up and I'm gonna store them away, and when I next need my green gold to be refilled, guess where I'm gonna go find that stash. Well, it managed to fill up one full half pans, and the rest of it is gonna go into the next one. Well, maybe just about half of it. Well, managed to save a lot of my green gold. Not going to waste because they are pretty expensive, as you can tell. Artist colors are expensive, right? So anyway, let me wipe the table, clean it up, and let's continue with our setting up of my new toy palette, that is. Now, if you don't have like me extra pants sitting around, you can just find a container of some sort and just scoop them in there, and maybe use like a wrapper or plastic wrapper or those food wrapper, wrap it up and store it away until you need it. Anyway, those are just little tips for us sketchers who've been around in this business for a long time. We've had many such accidents. Trust me, it happens. Well, let's continue. The next one is Phathlo Green blue shades. Now that is a bit more on the cooler side because it's blue shades. And why cooler side? Well, I find that if I go for the cooler side, it mixes better with the yellows, and it gives me better sort of leaves and green natural colors, if you like. The next two, Carbozale Violet, which is really one of my favorite colors. Beautiful purple straight off the tube. And next one is Neutral Tint, a very dark sort of gray, if you like. The option would be go for Payne's Grey, but I much prefer Neutral Tint from Daniel Smith. The next three colors are opaque, Naples Yellow. This is for skin tone, skin colors, and so on. And I really love the mixture. I learned this from Don Andrews, whom I took a week of course in Michigan in 2016. Love the guy, he's really good. I've done a lot of his I have his box set, and I watched it years ago. I must have seen it like 4 or 5 times. Really good as well. Learn lots. The next two would be my cadmium color, Cadmium Yellow and Cadmium Orange. That wraps up pretty much the 15 colors that I wanted to show you, and I think for advanced beginners this is more than adequate, and this is something that you could paint with for years before you progress to something more experiment. Or of course you can always experiment with colors, but this is my suggestion for you. So let's doodle or swatch them. 16 colors, right? So let's just put up a quick 16 box and shade out one, and that gives us 15. All right, now the 15 colors has so many mixes and so many combination you can do. It's crazy, and you can experiment with it for a long time. So let me just swatch them, and the way I do the swatch is that I put up a corner with very thick paint, almost without any water, and then I dilute and dilute down the other edge in the same way, one part which is thick, one part which is very watery. It gives me a feel for a few parts of the characteristics of the paint, and also it gives me a sense of how much paint I need to use for the effect of being very thick. Now as you can see, the tree opaque very quickly. Even though I just wash it, it becomes the color of my water becomes sort of milkish. Now I'm going to continue with the rest of the paint. They are more transparent, starting with neutral tint, and then you know, dilute it down. Beautiful sort of color. I really love neutral tint. It has got these characteristics that looks really good. Next one is Carbozale Violet. It's again also a beautiful purple. Love it. And you should try if you've not seen it. It's a really strong color. It's not as dark as I originally thought it is. It's actually quite sort of mid darkish color. But from a value perspective, I usually mix it with something that's staining, you know, like a phthalo, and it gives, you know, a darker value, if you like. Those reds, Quinacridone Rose and Permanent Alizarin Crimson. Now continue on with the swatched Quinacridone Gold. Queen Gold is one of those color that has got a lot of love from lots of people because it's really transparent. It's used a lot for tinting, and if you really want to rescue a failed sketch, you could use Queen Gold to glaze your sketch. It looks like an evening glow. The next one is Quinacridone Burnt Orange and Queen Gold. That gives me problem just now, the one that spilled, and Phathlo Green Blue shade. Those are the four colors I've just swatched in the same way, thick on one corner and diluted on the other corner. French Ultramarine is one of my favorite blue. It's not the Ultramarine version, which is a little bit cooler. French Ultramarine has a little bit of red in it. It's slightly on the purplish side of blue. And then I have Cobalt, which is a flat smack in the middle neutral. If you look at values 1 to 5, Cobalt will be somewhere in the middle, like 3. The next two will be Lemon Yellow for the light, Cool Yellow, and New Gamboge, which is the warm yellow. So that's it. And as you can see, I washed all those colors. It is still very transparently like tea, you know, you can almost see through the water. So the difference between opaque and transparent is essentially murking your water. You can tell. So those three are the opaque colors, and you know, I put them on the side so that I don't accidentally dip into it thinking they are just any color. But opaques are special, so I treat them very differently. So let me write down all the colors. It's also good just to memorize it in a way. So Lemon Yellow and New Gamboge. Anyway, those are all in the description below for those who are interested. Cobalt and French Ultramarine. And then I have my dirty orange. Well, brown's essentially dirty orange, right? So Queen Gold and Queen Burnt Orange for the two browns or two orange if you like. And the two green, they are Green Gold. And well, the Green Gold's very yellowish actually. It's like almost like a spring green if you like. And Phathlo Green Blue shade. Queen Rose and that's a mistake. Permanent Alizarin Crimson and Carbozale Violet and Neutral Tint. And the three opaques, well, they are Naples Yellow, they are Cadmium Yellow and Cadmium Orange. So let me do a quick doodle of this new palette. I can't wait to get a go with it and start sketching, right? I mean, they are itching away when this toy is there. You just gotta, you know, load it up and go. Alright, so one of my favorite combination, and there's plenty of combination here, would be Green Gold with a bit of Quinacridone Gold, and that mixed will give me a very nice natural, you know, spring green with a dash of brown, and if I dab a bit of, you know, Phathlo Green Blue shades into it, it gets me the shadow as well at the bottom part of the tree. A bit more Queen Burnt Orange will then gives me the trunk. Badly drawn tree, but you get the point. The colors are just gorgeous, right? Intense. That is typical Daniel Smith. I really love Daniel Smith, and yeah, really shout out to John who owns Daniel Smith, and you know, really good job still that they're doing. Really love the colors to death. And maybe the next one I'll show you how I mix purple. My favorite combination is Cobalt and Queen Rose. That gives me this beautiful light-hearted purple. You can't get, mixed purple is always better than straight off the tube in many ways, because it has these sheens, so when I want something light, a purple light version of purple, that's my go-to, those two colors. If I want a dark version of purple, I go to French Ultramarine and Permanent Alizarin Crimson. Those two combined gives me dark purple. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry I've been disappearing. I've been traveling quite a bit, and I hope to be back doing more videos for you guys. This is really about setting up my new toy, my new palette. 15 colors, and I think this is really more for advanced beginner. Well, beginners can go for it too. I guess you can learn to use the colors, but I wouldn't really recommend opaques for beginners. I would just say start with a 12 and then add the opaque later on when you are a little bit more familiar with the colors. So there you go. Those are my new palette. I love the magnet that comes with it. Clip nicely. Comes with a little clip as well. And yeah, I hope you, and this is my set, my lightweight traveling office sketchbook, if you like, and that's it. Well, take care wherever you are. Bye.